Hey everybody! I went to see a Christmas movie at the movie theater today, and here's my review of it. It was a Christmas movie. End of the review. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so there was two Christmas movies competing um, in the theater. Um, we had uh, the Grinchmas movie about the Nightmare Before Christmas. No, wait, not that movie. They decided to put Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas back in theaters. Why? I have no idea. So your option was watch a remake. I like literally watch a movie that you might already own on DVD, might be playing free on TV, or you could watch the remake, which was Silent Night, Deadly Night. All has come to be frightened. Hey, okay. With this Santa that slays, sleep in deadly peace. Sleep in deadly peace. How you like my song? Anyway, uh, I went into one that had no seats in it at all. Um, I mean, it had seats. What I mean is nobody else went to see the movie that I went into. I was completely all by myself, so I could say whatever comments I wanted to, joke with the movie as it was playing, and it's funny. And personally, I think it was more funny than the one that had full seats. So your options was Grinch's Stole Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night. Which one do you think I went to go see? Well, I didn't go see the funny, stupid Grinch movie. That's the one I did not go see. I've seen it. I saw it when it came out a long time ago. I've seen it free on TV. I'm not going to pay money to go watch and rewatch on the big screen Jim Carrey being the Grinch. So I saw plenty of people going to that movie, so I guess it was still popular. But nope, not me. Not me. I instead went to see Silent Night, Deadly Night. All is calm, all is fright. Crown young killer with an axe. Holy murder, hallelujah. Kill in heavenly screams. Kill in heavenly screams. Anyway, how you like that line for the song? Ah, pretty good. I'm literally just made up this song as right now, like now, this moment. Well, the moment I actually film in this video, which will not be the moment you watch this video. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, especially if you like the singing. So here's my review of Silent Night, Deadly Night. So this is an official remake, but I'm going to say it's a retelling of the story because everyone knows that they've already had two of these and it was Silent Night, Deadly Night. Then it had a sequel, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And it may have had a sequel to the sequel. I don't remember. But then it had a remake a while back, which was also Silent Night, Deadly Night. Um, so this is like, and then it may have had another sequel. I mean, remake. So this is another remake slash retelling from the old classic Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, which I think this is the third, maybe fourth remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Um, I'm not 100% sure on that. If I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me in the comments down below that I'm wrong. And thank you for correcting me if I'm wrong. And I know for, like I said, I don't know if there was a. I know there was Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then there was Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Um, I'm not sure if there was a Part 3 to that. Then I know that there was at least 2 remakes, right? I'm thinking there was 2 remakes. Maybe there was 3. This would have been the third. This is either the third or the fourth remake slash retelling of the first one. Anyway, it was awesome. So I have a theory, but okay, so I got a theory about what's going on in the movie. Uh, I like this one though because you still have the kid that saw Santa kill his parents, um, but you and who grows up to become a serial killer, but you have he's only killing bad people that need to be killed. He's killing actual naughty people that need to get killed. And he's been doing this for like 10 years. So, and he has to fill out and kill one person every day for 24 days and fill out this weird satanic ish advent calendar, I guess. But he's killing people that deserve to get killed. So that's interesting. Um, so in the movie, we find out that his parents are getting killed by a Santa Claus, and they accidentally kill this Santa Claus figure. It's actually people just dressed up as Santa Claus. Because his parents. Okay, so spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm pretty much cannot do this review without um, spoilers. But we kind of know that it takes on the same premise as the original, where the where his parents are basically bad, right? They fun fact, his dad's name and my name are the same name. We have the same name. So his dad's name is Jeffrey, and Jeffrey kills his dad or his wife's dad. It never specifies whether it was his dad or his wife's dad. I'm hoping it was his wife's dad because if he kills his dad, that's patricide. But they do it to get him to sign over everything, get him to overdose. The kid sees his grandpa die. Then the janitor that was dressed up as Santa Claus kills his parents because he had the same curse that he has or in the movie. Okay, so he gets a I'm going to assume it's a demonic transference of power. The kid comes out the car and he's drawn to this Santa Claus figure. And this Santa Claus figure holds his hand up and this demonic power is transferred from Charlie to the new kid. Okay, which I think's name is Danny. I think Danny. Yeah, I wasn't paying that much attention to the actual people's names, so that's irrelevant. Um, so his parents, his mother in particular, kills him by basically kicking him in the jugular with her stiletto high heels. So Santa bleeds out. Well, the guy dressed up as Santa. Um, Pretty cool. Uh, but he still kills the kid and not the kid, the mother and the father, and he kills them with a shotgun. Shotgun Santa, shooting Santas down because they naughty, not nice. That's right. I like one scene where the so when they transfer the power through some kind of weird demonic transference system. Now Charlie is his is this Danny's new um like he can hear him. It's like his voice in his head, right? But he's Charlie from the one that died, killing his parents. So the whole time, this Charlie character, he can he can tells Danny who are naughty and who needs killed because he's like a agent of justice slash agent of vengeance type deal going on. And it's while it's demonic and it's serial killing, he only kills bad people. So there's like this subplot going on where he's a serial killer killing bad people. He falls in love with this girl um, in this small town um, who has secrets. There's this secret Nazi white supremacist group, which he slaughters them all. It's amazing. It's an awesome action scene. Uh, the Danny, the new serial killer Santa Claus, Santa Claus serial killer. There's this guy who's um, a little too handsy, if you know what I mean, onto this girl that the new girl that he falls in love with, um, who turns out was killed his wife and stuff. So that's an interesting thing. So everybody he kills turns out that they were bad people. They're evil people, including the police officer at the end of the movie, um, who kills him, and then he transfers his power onto his girlfriend or the girl that he fell in love with. Also, there's the girlfriend's dad gets killed by this subplot that's going on, and the subplot that's going on where uh, the first guy he killed at the beginning of the movie, another guy who puts a Santa Claus mask on, and the police officer that used to date the girlfriend, are in together as the Snatcher, and the Snatcher is snatching kids, and they do save three of the kids, so good job. Uh, so he's not that bad of a serial killer because him and his girlfriend at the end of the movie save three of the kids from the Snatcher, who the Snatcher also killed her dad. So that's kind of thing. He even tells her that he's crazy as a serial killer and has this demonic possession thing while they're driving to go take out the Snatcher. And well, she she wants to kill him because he killed her father. So yeah. So anyway, um, you there's a flashback scene which shows, while he's telling her about, you know, his story of who he is, you have this like yeah, flashbang grenade. No, I mean flashbang. No, I mean flashback. Blue. See, not edited into videos makes it more funny. Anyway, um, so you get to see his first kill and a bunch of other kills. His first kill was this like evil. She was mean. She was mean. She was evil. She was mean to her children that were wards of the state that she was taking care of. And at 17, he kills this. He kills this lady. Then it shows us a flashback of a bunch of other people he killed, and he only killed bad people. So I mean, he's kind of like Dexter, but in a Santa Claus suit. But Dexter kills serial killers. He's a serial killer that kills serial killers, and sometimes people that get in his way, or sometimes bad people like pedophiles and stuff. So Dexter's a good guy, even though he kills people, which he does. Kills people. He does the evil thing to kill people to do good to save people's life. So he's a good guy, even though he does bad things. Just like this guy in the movie is a good guy. Like, like freaking 11 months of the year, he's not going around killing people. He only kills people for 24 days because that's what he's supposed to do. And if he doesn't kill one person every night during his 24 days, filling out, literally putting his thumbprint or fingerprint or one type of print in the calendar with blood on each day, someone else will die. Like an innocent. Okay, so if he doesn't kill a guilty person, a sinner, then somebody else that's not guilty and innocent will die that day. So that's just another layer of lore to the movie. Um, Interesting enough, he kills all these bad people, and you get to see a bunch of bad people die, and they rightly deserved dying. I mean, he kills these Nazis. Like he kills like this whole Nazi white supremacist Christmas party. So yeah, that's just hanging out in this small town. Like nobody, like people didn't know about him. So this town had some secrets, and they're pretty bad people. Pretty bad, pretty bad, pretty bad people. Pretty bad people. Pretty bad people. They're bad people. Tell you they're bad. They're bad people. They deserve to die because they're bad people. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know how long this tradition has been going on, but I do know that he's been doing it for 10 years. Not sure how long the janitor guy before him has been doing it. And he must have gotten his power from a previous Santa Claus too, serial killer Santa Claus, and that one must have got it from a previous one, and so on and so forth, and it must go back. No telling how long it goes back, because they don't really explore the lore, but they do show us the Wooden Advent calendar, where he keeps putting in the blood, and that looks pretty old. I mean, honestly, that looks like old, like antique old. Like dude's had it since like Like it's been in existence for like hundreds of years old. You know what I mean? This looks like old, antique old. Like don't know how old, how far back this has gone, but it does look very very old. And maybe that's where the demon's essence soul resides is in the calendar. And the demon, I think my theory is that it's a demonic possession, and the demon uses the life and abilities of the previous hosts to convince and talk this host it into doing it, and that the 24 murders or are actually um, are actual um, sacrifices to the demon. You know, so the demon picks bad people to murder, but it makes you into a murderer to be able to do that. Now, do you have to do it every year? Apparently not, because he didn't commit his first murder till he was 17. And he said he's only been doing it for 10 years, so he must be 27 in the movie. Um, but you see him for the first time at maybe 10 years old, maybe 7, 8. So you don't know. Maybe, maybe there's this thing where the demon can not have any sacrifices for, say, 10 years or so. And so maybe if we see the kid when he was 7 and the sacrifices can be withheld for at least 10 years, then maybe that explains why he had to start at 17. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't quite. It has some kind of lore, demonic lore, demonic influence to it. And I haven't seen the originals or any of the other remakes in a while. So I'm wondering if there's any like connection to those other than the title with this one. Like, is there some kind of lore behind it? Because I don't quite remember if there's any connections or lores that connect the different remakes into one universe. Because if there is, that would be awesome. Um, I wonder if you could connect the Santa sleigh universe into this universe too, because Santa's sleigh is also another serial killer who wears a Santa Claus uniform uh, into the Silent Night, Deadly Night version, and he basically kills people, and he's a serial killer wearing a Santa Claus outfit. Anyway, it's a pretty cool franchise. I wonder if you could merge the two into one and or the same universe, and that would be neato because it's also had remakes. And it was an interesting remake slash retelling of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. It takes more where it's not just some kid grows up and just because he saw his parents get killed by a person in a Santa Claus outfit, that he grows up and becomes a serial killer who dresses up in a Santa Claus outfit. I also like how Charlie helps Danny when he has to pose as a Santa Claus because the person he posed as a Santa Claus, who was possibly a pedophile, maybe had pedophile mentality. What kind of guy wants to dress up voluntarily mind you, every year as a Santa Claus, just so he could have kids sitting on his lap. Unless maybe, not saying that some of those Santa Claus guys that like to dress up as a Santa Claus and have kids sit on their laps, that just seems a little creepy, a little pedophilia-ish, maybe. Maybe. I'm not saying all of them are. I'm saying some of them might be. Just saying. Just saying. It's kind of a little bit odd, especially the way he said some things to the girl, the girl, the girlfriend that falls in love with him. Uh, he says some things that are a little, sexually perverted, if you get what I'm saying. So they make him out that maybe he was a pedophile. Maybe. There's no proof of that, but I mean, because he didn't get killed because he was a pedophile. He got killed because he was killed his wife. So, but maybe he was. Maybe that was part of the. Maybe he was a pedophile too. Maybe. But anyway, so Charlie helps him not kill the kids because Charlie's like, you don't want to kill the kids. So he talks him in out of it, which is a nice little thing. So the demon has, the demon that is posing as Charlie has a, seems like it has a moral conscience where you only supposed to kill the bad people. So like, because at the Christmas party, the majority of the people at the Christmas party might have been white supremacists, but they have never committed any crimes. They've never killed anybody. While the main woman that was running the Christmas party was literally like a female Hitler, you know, wanted to make. I like her line though. Her line is great. It's welcome to this Christmas where we want to have a white power Christmas. She's dreaming of a white power Christmas, and she literally does. And she does the Nazi salute and stuff, and hi and stuff. It's awesome. Uh, it's just great. Yeah, damn socialist communist bastards, Nazis that need to be executed with their white power. Hi, like bye. Y'all got buyed by the Santa Claus serial killer. Anyway, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, love it. That was probably pretty. That was a pretty cool scene, though. She's doing coke and like she pulls out like a machine gun to try to kill the serial killer Santa Claus dude, and she kills like more of the white supremacist Nazis by pulling out a machine gun and shooting the hell out of the party than like he did with his like ex. And I love how Charlie's like, I love how Charlie's like, this is a bad idea. I don't recommend we go in there. Charlie's like looking out for him the whole time, and it's like awesome. He's like, because at first it was just kill the one girl, right? And then he's like, we're gonna kill them all. And Charlie's like, use one of the guns. Use a gun. And he's like, guns are for pussies. I think it's like, it's it's hilarious. It's a hilarious scene. It's like, guns are for pussies. I'm going to use my axe to kill all these damn Nazis. It's just funny. It's funny. Charlie's like, I don't mind if you kill all these damn Nazis. even though you only need to kill the one girl. But yeah, maybe you should go in with some guns. It's like he leaves this whole row of guns too, because when he first goes into the party, this guy he frisks him and he's like, "So is Santa packing tonight?" And he had no idea. He literally had no. He had no idea that this Christmas party was a bunch of white nationalists, socialist, Nazi, communist, skinhead type people. Uh, he had no idea that's what he was walking into. So I guess he got invited to the Christmas party. He did. He did get invited to the Christmas party. No, he didn't. He didn't even get invited to the Christmas party. He just showed up because somehow the demon entity that's inside of him, that's talking to him, that's a voice to him, can lead him to where these people are so that he can kill them, which is interesting because that creature, that demonic creature, helps lead him to the Christmas tree farm where the kids are being kept, and they saved three kids. Nice. And the kids are kept basically in a cellar, like underground cellar thing, and they're thrown in a ball pit just so they could sit there and die for some sick reason. So he does end up killing us this three pronged serial killers that are called the Snatchers, and they're snatching kids during Christmas. For what reasons, I have no idea. Maybe it's a pedophile thing. Maybe it's a sex trafficking ring or something. I have no idea why they're doing what they're doing, but they do it to a bunch of kids, and it's just bad. It's wrong. It's evil. Uh, they they deserve to die. It's bad. One bad cop. Um, the runner of the Christmas tree farm, and some other person that you never see who he is, because every time you see him, he's wearing like some Santa Claus mask, which he probably uses to trick the kids into following him so that he can kidnap them. And they keep him in a like a little cellar thing that's full of like, those balls like that, like kids like in the ball pins, the like in Chuck E. Cheese's and stuff. Yeah, it's like terrible. They deserve to die. So like everybody he kills deserves to die. Yeah, but I guess the demon's not that bad because the demon's over here like telling him that he only had to kill the girl, and he chooses to kill all these damn Nazis, and it's funny and hilarious and awesome, and he's not trying to kill certain people. Like he's like really not trying to kill people. Like he's trying to avoid killing certain people. He doesn't really want to do this. He's a drifter, and he's been drifting for a while, like most of his life, he says. Which I guess if he started killing at 17 and then he had to leave and drift off, I guess, yeah, 10 years is probably most of his life. He's 27. He didn't start killing till his first killing until he's 17, and of course, was in and out the foster system. So most of his life, since he was probably maybe 7, maybe 10. I don't know. So pretty pretty interesting take on the movie. I liked it. It was a interesting twist on the serial killer thing. So I'm going to assume he was demonically possessed, but the demon gave him the ability to pick and choose. So it wasn't really that bad of a demon, but it was still, a demon that he's sacrificing 24 lives to. But I guess you don't have to sacrifice them all because if you miss a day, someone else dies instead, which interesting. And then for some reason he decided like one day he misses a day because he's enjoying the day with his new girl, uh, with this new girlfriend that he falls in love with. It doesn't take him very long to fall in love with this girl. I mean, he meets her, gets off the bus into the town, meets the girl, goes to her Christmas antique mall. Um, then, which makes you wonder what they're selling the rest of the year if it's not Christmas stuff. Then he gets a job there pretty much the same day, and then and he only had 4 days, so this is the night before Christmas, so Christmas Eve day. Um, no, this is Christmas the day before. So he fell in love with her pretty much in like 2 days. And he skips one of the days, and he only had like 5 days left. Huh. Yeah. Interesting. Like how it kind of circles back to the day, first day that we see him, where he killed the Christmas tree, the bad Christmas tree farm owner, operator. I like how it kind of circles back. Like, there's a reason he stops in this town, and there's a reason he kills the people he kills. And it even shocked him, you know, because it circles back from the day one, you know, where he killed the Christmas tree farm owner, operator. Yeah, very interesting. That's a nice little take how it the prowler is really three people and it he already killed one and then he kills another one in the bull bullpen ball pen um almost dies in the process of killing him. Then he gets shot down by the police officer, not the sheriff, uh like one of the deputies. Not sure if it's a sheriff. It doesn't even appear to be a sheriff's department really. It more appears to be uh, like just a police department. Pretty big police department for a fairly small town, though, which is weird. I don't get it. Um, how do these small towns have large police departments? Like in the movies, these small towns always have like a large police department, even though they're a small town. You would think that they would have a smaller police department, but I digress. I mean, like if it's a actual police department, the town actually has usually has a pretty big police department for a small town. But if it's like an actual sheriff's department, it seems like it has a pretty small sheriff's department. I wonder if that's like some propaganda crap that Hollywood throws in. Like, I don't know if it's anti propaganda or pro propaganda, but it literally usually shows that the elected sheriff's department, that's an elected position, usually is pretty small in a small town, um, while the city or town's police department is usually pretty big, like bigger than it needs to be, bigger than it should be. Actually, this town, come to think of it, bigger than it should be. So maybe it was a full county, not just a town. And there's a town in the county. Maybe it is a sheriff's department. I don't know. It didn't look like it was a sheriff's department. They looked like they was wearing the badges of a police department, like not deputies. So not like a sheriff's department. How do you know the difference? Well, city cops wear shields, while county cops or sheriff's officers usually wear a star. badge. Um, for example, uh, I actually have an example. Here's a star badge because I collect badges. Here is what a county usually wears, star badge, and then a city police officer. Um, Also, security can go either way. Security can be either star or um, shield. A shield, of course, um, I do collect badges, and you're going to get a bonus here because you're going to get to see like a whole bunch of my badges here. So, as you can see, um, security can do badges or stars. Um, but as you can see, regular police usually do shields, while uh, elected police, like this is a marshal, basically, uh, Texas Rangers, you know. So you see how Hawkins police from, um, uh, see how Hawkins police from the chief from Stranger Things, and then you have King County police from The Walking Dead. The, you see how Highway Patrol was badge, you know, shield, and then you see how Rangers, which were an elected sort of, actually they weren't elected, but you get, and how the Indian Bureau of Indian Affairs is a, and how the deputy sheriff, I guess it doesn't always have to be that way because this is a deputy sheriff's badge, but it's a badge, it's a shield instead of a here's one for the actual Department of Corrections. And then here's one that's a security officer for the state of Tennessee, but this is also a security officer for the state of Tennessee. So, but, and then this one's from Woodrow Police, which is a star, but that's a city instead of a county, instead of a deputy. But actually, I think Woodbury Police was a county, you know, from Scream. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to get to say is usually stars are for county and badges are for city, but then stars can be sometimes for security and stars can sometimes be for not security. And then sometimes stars can be for federal and sometimes they're not for federal, or maybe it's federal and state, something like that. Sorry about that. I had to pause it because apparently I drank too much cola and ate too much popcorn, and both of it runs through you when you go to the movies. So yeah, I ate a whole bucket of popcorn. Popcorn. Well, corn is probably not something that humans should eat. Don't think corn was designed to be food. I think it was designed to be fuel. So it goes through you. Like, yeah. And I don't know what's up with that soda, but soda, I normally don't drink that much soda. Sometimes I splurge. Every once in a while I splurge. And like, since I had enough points to buy the oh, fun, let me tell you a little bit about what happened. Okay, I accidentally didn't know that the deluxe combo was basically two large um, drinks and a large popcorn, and I just, so they rung it up and messed up, and I'm like, I don't need both drinks, so I tried to ask them if they would substitute it for a like a thing of nachos, because the thing of nachos was cost about the same. Actually, I think a nachos cost less than a small drink, which is weird. Um, like I'm like I looked at the price. Like literally, a large drink cost more than a thing of nachos, and I was like, "Can you just give me a thing of nachos instead?" And instead, she had gone back to talk to her manager, um, another worker, and they brought me two free tickets. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, that was way better. I mean, a movie ticket by itself, one movie ticket without getting the free half off deal is like $15, right? So you gave me $30 because I made a mistake to give me my 20. So I was using 2,500 points to get the thing. They not only did they give me the large popcorn and a large drink, but they gave me two free movie tickets to any future movie that I want to watch, as long as it's not IMAX. So Merry Christmas to me, I guess, because for my 25,000 points, because and it was my mistake. I'm actually the one that made a mistake that they had already rung up. I was like, you could just make me some nachos, and instead they give me like the tickets. I was like, you could have just made me some nachos or a hot dog. He was like the hot dog, which boggles my mind that the price of nachos and a hot dog is the same price as a large drink. I mean, mathematically, I'm over here thinking, why? I mean, it will cost the business more because I already know from working at Incredible Pizza, I know that it costs them literally, it might cost more now, but it cost about a nickel. I mean, when I worked at Incredible Pizza, he said it cost about 2 cents to refill as large of a cup as you pretty much could want. So think about that. It might be more now, so I'm going to say a nickel. It cost him about a nickel to refill a large glass of cup from the soda that you put in from the soda box. So you buy a soda box, okay? This is where they're making money. I swear, this is where the fast food companies and everybody else is making money. A soda box. If it's, I don't know how much you're paying for a soda box. Let's say they pay $20 for a soda box. Okay, you do the math now. They're paying, let's just say for sake of argument, it costs $20 to buy a soda box. Wholesale, right? If it's a nickel or refill, how much money are they making? If it costs a nickel for every glass of water, glass of drink, right? That means you can make, I don't know, I'm just doing $20 for example here. Um, that's 20 glasses for $1. So that's every $5, that's 100. So look at 5, 10, 15, $20. 400 cups. And these things might, I don't know, they might cost more than $20. So you're making 400 cups, large, by the way, off of one box. I think they make more than that though. Damn, that's some bull crap. That is some bull crap. I swear they're making a lot of money. Uh, so even if you charge $1 a cup, you just made $400 off of $20. Maybe they cost $50, but if they cost $50, they're making even more because it can hold. I think one of them things is designed. I don't know this for a fact, but I think it's designed to fill up 1,000 cups. So $50 might be more accurate at a nickel. I feel maybe they're paying $100. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is they're making money off of the damn drinks. That's where the places make money. Drinks, because it probably cost them a nickel a fill, and then the cups probably cost them like a penny a piece. I can't see why they were paying more than a penny for them cups. So it probably cost them in total, even if they're paying a nickel a cup, we're talking about a dime for every glass and every drink. And even if you're charging $1 for those drinks, like, really, really, yeah. That's why it's so easy for the companies to just offer a drink. And they charge that's why like giving a person a free drink is like the easiest comp you can do. Like, oh, you want another free drink? Yeah. Yeah. They're making money. I've done the math. So that was my Christmas movie review of Silent Night, Deadly Night. I liked it. I actually do. Uh, the first, we don't see how he killed the first person that he killed, but we do see the how he kills the second person, the guy that killed his wife, in the movie. Well, first person in the movie that he killed. Yeah. And I do like I do like that he wasn't wearing shoes. He literally walks in the person's house. Guess he broke in the house, wielding an axe, and he just sneaks up behind him and just silently, easily just creeps up behind him and then says the word naughty and then literally takes the axe and straight to. And you see this scene. You see this scene in the trailer, so this isn't really a spoiler, really. And he just puts the axe right through the guy's skull, like right between the eyes, in the back of the skull, like, like, but from behind, like if someone snuck up behind me and went schwack right now, like, but I would see them if they tried to because I'm filming. But like, say I wasn't filming and I couldn't see behind me and they were just whack. X went like right here through the eyes, and then he just pulls the X up and like I guess cleans it and so he can use it again. Oh my gosh, yeah. But I like how he did not wear his shoes inside the house because when you walk with shoes, the shoes make more noise than when you walk with socks on. So it's that's like that's real. Like that's some realism to the movie. Like if you're wanting to sneak up behind somebody, be more quiet, and you'd be more quiet wearing socks than you would wearing shoes. I mean, we can hear the creaks of the wood that he's walking on, but I don't think the majority of people could actually hear that. Especially since it shows that this guy was kind of hard of hearing because he took his hearing aid out before you see all this. So, yeah. But I don't think, like, a lot of people probably wouldn't hear you silently walking, approaching with socks. They would probably hear, but they might hear your approach if you were wearing a shoe. Depending on the type of shoe, I guess. Anyway, this review's been almost as long as the movie. No, I'm just playing. An hour long, but interesting. Interesting. Some of it wasn't about the movie though, so I guess that's fine. But I mean, since it was a slasher film, uh, the lowest scale would be one slash, and the highest scale would be five slashes. You know, like 5 star. I wouldn't say it was a 5 star movie, and I wouldn't say it was just a cheap 1 star movie, because it actually had some good storyline, and it had a good this demonic spirit element to it, and it actually had like a love story going through it, and it had him killing actual pretty bad people, and he gets hurt in part of the process of trying to kill people. So it didn't show him as like a Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, invincible killer here. He's like still human and can die. So the power has to be transferred onto another serial killer. Uh, so that's an interesting um, little concept there. So it did, it did come up with a mythos and a good storyline and all that. So it wasn't just like a slasher movie, like just a slasher movie for the sake of slasher movies. Um, it came with a story. It had like an in-depth story and an in-depth mythos of why and what's going on here. So I will have to give it. I know it wasn't like a perfect movie, so I'm not going to give it a perfect score. I usually don't do movie scores, but if you really want me to do a movie score, since some people like movie stores scores, I'm going to have to give it like three slashers, like three slashes. So like three slashes. One, two, three. So I'm gonna give it in the middle ground. Not the best movie, but not the worst movie. You get what I'm saying? No slashes would be worse than one slash would be is okay. And like two slashes would be better than just okay. Like three slashes would be pretty good. Uh, like four slashes would be like really good. And then like five slashes would be like it's the one of the best slasher movies ever. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it like three. It's in the middle ground. A little better than good. It's a little better than it's okay. It's pretty good. So it's like pretty good level, right? Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Like I wouldn't even recommend you go watch like one or two slash movies unless you're just bored and ain't got nothing else to do, right? But if it's got three slashes or four slashes, I'd say go watch it. Five slashes is definitely watch it kind of deal, like. And if it was a zombie movie review, I would have to be like 1 out of 5 brains. It would be getting 3 brains. You know what I'm getting at? Uh, Yeah, it had just the right amount of downtime, just the right amount of story, and just the right amount of pace too. So didn't get it wasn't too slow to get boring, and it wasn't too fast to just where you missed out on the cool slashing action scenes. So had just enough good slashing action with just enough slow downtime to actually have you learn and realize there's a story. Now it did seem like it did a little making did seem kind of like she fell in love with him pretty fast because he literally just came in town and he's been in town for like 3 maybe 4 days and him and her are already in love dating and sleeping together, but and it seems like the dad doesn't care because when he's at the job interview. Oh yeah, by the way, the place he works at, he only went to work to try to get closer to her, which I guess that's fine. I mean, if you want to get close to a girl, maybe that's a one possible way to get close to a girl. He didn't know that it was owned by her. It is. It's literally owned by her. That's well, she doesn't really own the place. Her dad owns it, but she owns it now because her dad died, and she's the heiress to the family antique mall. I guess it's an antique mall. Or does it only deal with Christmas? I think it was an antique mall. Yeah, it's an antique mall. It's like a antique store, but not necessarily just antiques because they order stuff too. Like, but maybe they were just ordering stuff because of Christmas time. It's like one of those little small shops you would go in if you were going through a small town that you just happen to go through and you're like, let's check out this antique mall. And the majority of the clients are like residents of the town uh, for the Christmas season. So, like one of those mom and pop shops type deals. Used to actually be owned by their mom and pop, but her mom was dead and now her dad owns it. And she was, of course, going to be the heir to the throne, heir to the fortune. And she didn't mind. She kind of liked the place. Besides, she's a little crazy herself. In the movie, this girl is a little on the crazy side. So yeah, like you see her beating up some like kids, and you find out that she's been beating up kids like her whole life. And this cop that's in love with her for some weird reason keeps helping her get off the hook for beating kids. And she also has a weird obsession with true crime novels and serial killers and stuff. So they're perfect for each other. Anyway, yeah. Mm, movie review has been going on for over an hour now. So I hate to make the movie review last longer than the actual movie itself, but if I don't stop, it probably will. Yeah, that's crazy. How you can talk longer about the movie than the actual movie itself. Because I don't think the movie was that long. I think the movie was maybe an hour and a half long movie. It's a pretty short movie. It's maybe only an hour and 20-minute movie. So yeah, wasn't super long movie. Good movie, decent movie. Told what it needed to tell in that short time period. Um, yeah, decent movie. Okay, movie. Pretty good movie. Like I said, 3 out of 5 slashes for a slasher movie. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share, hype the video, comment down below if you saw any good slasher movies or if you've seen any good Christmas movies or whatever. Um, comment down below if you would have paid money to go see the Grinch movie. I don't know. The It's not even a remake. It's like y'all couldn't make a remake of the Grinch Stole Christmas movie. I mean, you couldn't make a sequel to the Grinch Stole Christmas. I mean, like, I really kind of wonder what the Grinch did after. Like, what happened next year? Like, next Christmas? Like, I mean, his heart grew 3 sizes that day. So now he's like seriously, what happened to the Grinch after? Like, could someone like make me a movie about, the Grinch afterwards? I mean, like, what's his relationship with, is it Cindy Lou Who or Mary Lou Who? I don't even know. Anyway, the point is, like, seriously, what happened? Like, someone tell me. Like, seriously, I need to know. Well, I don't really need to know, but it would be interesting. Like, we're given this basically like maybe a month, maybe a week into the Grinch's life. Like, we're not even given much of a story. Like, could someone make a prequel to the Grinch? Like, I don't know, maybe a prequel of why he became the Grinch, or can someone make a sequel to the Grinch? Like, now that he's a good guy, what did he do? Like, please make this happen. I mean, we need to know. Inquiring minds would like to know what happened the next year. Like, now that he's not stealing Christmas, like, what happened in The Grinch Loves Christmas? Like part two or something. Or how did the Grinch hate Christmas to begin with so that he would want to steal Christmas? Like, why is he such a bad guy? Like, do we have a can we have a prequel of him growing up and getting to the point where he hates Christmas? Like, the Grinch hates Christmas? Why? The prequel. And then The Grinch Loves Christmas, the sequel. Can we have those, please? Thank you. Make it happen. Make it so. Anyway, have a great day. Have a blessed day. And have a wonderful day. And maybe even a Grinch TV show would be interesting. Like, not a prequel, but like what he's doing now after the fact. If you know what I mean? He's no longer hating Christmas. He loves Christmas now. And, you know, what's he do during the rest of the year now that him and the town's gotten along and he's no longer living up in the all alone and isolated and whatnot. He's out actually, you know, gallivanting around and, being a regular member of the Who's. He's part of the Who's Who of the Who's. You know, just, wondering. I mean, like, doesn't anybody else wonder, like, what the Who's are doing when it's not Christmas? I mean, what are they doing? They're hanging out with Horton? I mean, and they got to be a different group of Who's on the Horton Hills Who, because those Who's from Horton Hills Who are on, like, a flower or something, while the Who's from How the Grinch Stole Christmas are on a snowflake. Theoretically, they could be the same Who's because snow melts. Snow melts. Okay. And maybe they melted onto a. Maybe the Who's melted onto something else and. Huh. Just, I mean, really, like the Who's from Whoville, they're on an icicle, so well, I mean, they're on the snowflake, so they're really tiny, microscopic little people, and they, um, when it was no longer winter, like, wouldn't they have to like change? Wouldn't they have to like? Wouldn't they like die off unless they like merged and joined something? So maybe the Who's from Whoville that were on a icicle are now. See how my mind works? It's like psychoanalyzing this fictional town of Whoville here to try to figure out like what happened to the Who's after winter's over with. Do they like just die off? Which is a terrible fate for the Who's, by the way. Are they the same Who's from Horton Hears a Who? Is Horton Hears a Who first, or is Horton Hears a Who after the Grinch Stole Christmas? Like, someone explained the Dr. Seuss like universe to me. Like, seriously, is there like a Dr. Seuss verse? Like, are all the Dr. Seuss books connected in the same universe? Like, is the red fish, two fish, red, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish? Is that literally in the same universe as the Cat and Hat? Like, is that fish from the Cat and Hat one of the fish from the red fish, two fish, the one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish? And are the Who's from The Grinch and Horton Hears a Who? Are they the same Who's? Are they different Who's? Like, seriously, these are questions. We need to know if there's a Dr. Seuss verse. Is there like a literal universe? Is the 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 two people who walked around the whole entire planet or whatever planet that they walked around, are they Who's? And it was a perfect sphere or something, and they had to walk around it. And if the Who's live on the ice on a snowflake, did they live on a flat Earth? I mean, they literally live on a flat Earth, right? Yeah, they do, sort of, kind of, because Earth is a snowflake, and the middle of the snowflake is Whoville. But then they land on like a flower or something. It's not even a flower, is it? It's a one of those, you know, uh, weed flower things that you blow and they go flying everywhere. I think that's what Horton hears a who on. But they're somehow they're so small that they're only on one needle or one thing of the seed thing that the weeds have. You know what I'm talking about, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then just ignore me. But the point is, they're like really small on like the top of one seed thing. Anyway, this is crazy. I'm trying to figure out how this Whoverse exists, or the um, Dr. Seuss verse, really. This is interesting stuff. But I'm gonna have to deliberate on this in a separate video because maybe one day I'll interview. It makes me want to get literally all the Dr. Seuss books and see if there's like some weird connection to like because he not only did he write those books, but he illustrated all the books. So if you can find like a connection, like of drawings, like huh, interesting. If you could find maybe a connection in the drawings, because some of the characters overlap in different movies, don't they? I think they do. Huh. So they must be set in the same universe. You can see some of the pictures overlap. You know, like he has used some of the same artwork in one they used in another book. Then you can also see that some of the characters seem like they overlap. I wonder if anybody else has ever deep dived into the Dr. Seuss verse. If they have, comment down below like a link to like a YouTube video or Reddit file or something, because that would just be an interesting little deep dive theory to ponder about. Like we're talking about fictional universe here, but Dr. Seuss I think was before Stephen King. So if you can find connections into Dr. Seuss verse, theoretically that would mean he had the first multiverse. Maybe he did have the first multiverse. Huh. Maybe that's where Stephen King thought of his multiverse that he has. Hmm. Interesting. Because you know all the Stephen King books are like in one huge multiverse sort of thing. The books and movies and everything. And they pay homage and stuff to each other. It's true. They do. Uh, they're all part of one multiverse of madness. The madness of that is Stephen. Doctor, not Doctor Stephen Strange, but Stephen King, who ironically actual last name is King, which means his his ancestors, which means he's technically related to Dr. King, Martin Luther King Jr. The Kings. How? Well, how you say how are white people related to black people? Aren't they two different skin colors? Well, yes. Um, which means they're two different races, right? Well, sort of, depending on how you define race. If you define race based on ethnicity and skin color, yes. But in reality, there's only one race, the human race. But I'll explain this. Okay, historically, when Lincoln freed the slaves, and before Lincoln freed the slaves, slaves didn't have a surname like me. I have a surname. It's Scarborough. My channel is Jeffrey Scarborough. My surname is my last name. So traditionally and historically, slaves did not have a surname. When they were freed, and before they were freed, actually, they were given the master's name, the master's surname. So if you ever find a if you ever find a black person with the same surname as you. They got it from your ancestors because one of your ancestors owned one of them, one of their ancestors, somewhere down the line. So, not saying slavery is right. I'm not saying slavery was wrong. I'm not saying slavery was good. I'm not saying slavery was bad. I'm just saying that slaves were took on their master's last name. Many times in history, slaves were freed before their master died. Sometimes slaves were freed when their master died. Um, so a lot of slaves, a lot of masters were good to their slaves. There was probably a lot of masters that were bad to their slaves. So we're not going to go into this slavery debate on whether it was good, bad, whatever. We're just going to go into the fact that it existed and every race or skin color or ethnicity were slaves at some point in history. Okay? And this practice of slavery has existed for like ever. Okay? It's existed a long time. It's been in the Bible. The Bible doesn't specifically say it was bad. So it just existed. It's existed throughout history. And every race, skin color, creed, nationality, whatever, has been slaves somewhere, sometime throughout history. So if you're in America, or if you find out the person was from Canada, because a lot of slaves fled to Canada, most of the time, slaves throughout history would take on the owner, the master's surname. So in the case of America and Canada and possibly even Mexico, maybe, um, if you find out that someone has a black someone has the same surname as you, white someone, that means that their descendants or their ancestors were owned by your ancestors somewhere down the line. So, just a fun fact. So, Martin Luther King ancestors were owned by the ancestors of Stephen King just by the last name, the surname of King. They were both kings. The surname King. So just, you know, if you ever, basically, if you ever find out that there's a black person with your last name, that now means, and you're a white person, that now means more than likely somewhere around 100 years ago or so, 100, 200 something years ago, one of your ancestors owned a slave who maybe he may have been good to him, may have been bad to him. I don't know. It happened 200 years ago. All we know is that when slaves were free, they were given the surname of their masters. Sometimes they were freed by their masters before their masters died. Sometimes their masters died and that instantly freed them if it didn't make them revert to property to their children, which also happens sometimes. I'm going into a tangent here. I'm just saying that, which has nothing to do with the movie review at all. I'm just saying that that's how a lot of black people got their last names. A lot of black people got their last names from their slave masters of their ancestors. and it's just stuck. So if you really, really, really don't like, um, if you're black and you really don't like the idea that you have your slave name, maybe you should change your last name. But hey, I mean, how far are you going to go into your ancestral line? Are you going to try to find the black tribe or black nation that you were a member of from ancestrally speaking? Because that's going to be pretty hard. Because due to the fact that the slaves, I've mentioned this before, but the slave trade, you know how it worked? African tribal warlords sold prisoners of war into slavery for guns to colonizers. So that's the truth of what happened. So colonizers would buy, sell, and trade goods to Africans. And some of these buy, sell, and trade goods were human beings. They were prisoners of war, so to speak. So, for example, Shaka Zulu. Okay, Shaka Zulu was a African tribal chieftain warlord. He sold slaves to the white man for munitions and other things. Um, while selling these slaves, what happened one time is he got also caught as a prisoner of war by another African tribe, right? And he, this is a true story of Shaka Zulu. He got shipped all the way to America. He somehow gained his freedom back, and he came back to Africa and reigned again as the tribal warlord. After he saw what happened to these POWs and slavery in general, as a slave owner himself, he abolished slavery in his kingdom. So good for him. So it took him becoming a prisoner of war, getting sold into the slave trade, and becoming a slave to realize that slavery was bad and and that they should not be selling prisoners of war into slaves for weapons to conquer more nations and repeat the and then sell more prisoners of war for more weapons to conquer more nations and so on and so forth, thus uh, repeating the cycle because he realized that these colonizers, these British colonizers, these slave merchants and whatnot that were selling them to America were basically selling the munitions, the weapons, to all the different African tribes. And they didn't care where they got the African prisoners. So he had a total change of his life, even theoretically, according to the um, got saved and became a Christian. So that may have had something to do with it too. The fact that he got saved and became a Christian. Because when he came back, he, as the tribe leader, he kind of, was a big influencer on African Christianity and the African Orthodox Church and possibly part of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which Ethiopia really just was all black. But it goes even further back than that if you want to trace the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. You want to trace the Church of Ethiopia, which is there's multiple Ethiopian churches. You can actually trace them all the way back to the Ethiopian eunuch, really, um, the one that was saved, got saved, who asked, I believe it was Peter, um, or one of the apostles, uh, who met the Ethiopian eunuch, told him what the passage in Isaiah um, was actually talking about Jesus, and this Ethiopian eunuch got saved and took his religion back to Ethiopia, and that's why we have the Ethiopian church. Maybe not the same church as the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Maybe, maybe not. Interesting. Supposedly, this Ethiopian church actually has the. So, if you think about it, it might even go further back because supposedly this same Ethiopian church has Solomon's. They have some of the wisdom of Solomon. They have even more books in their Bible than we do in our canon, and they supposedly have. I think it's supposedly they're probably lying about it because they don't let nobody see. So I'm thinking they're lying. Um, but supposedly, maybe possible ability that they have the Ark of the Covenant. Um, or they're just lying about having the Ark of the Covenant. It's possible maybe at one time they did have the Ark of the Covenant because there's this theory out there that Solomon, who wrote Song of Solomon, uh, which is a love story slash sex romance novel that is basically about him and his favorite wife, which was black, which means she's Ethiopian. Um, she was Ethiopian, and he sent his best, his most precious jewels. He sent with his Ethiopian wife, um, which can mean two different things. Can actually mean three different. It it and it could mean both. So really, in a way, it could mean three different things. Could mean one that she was pregnant and his jewel was his son, an heir to the throne of Israel, right? It could also mean that he sent the Ark of the Covenant with his wife back to Ethiopia, or it can mean both. He sent the Ark of the Covenant and his child with the, you know. Also, again, these Ethiopians are also the Magi. Think about it. The Magi from the east, that's Ethiopia. Maybe. Probably. Possibility. So they knew about Jesus way before and because of Solomon and all that stuff, right? So they're the Ethiopian Magi, which explains why this Ethiopian eunuch from the Ethiopian Magi was like, well, who's this talking about? Well, the Ethiopian Magi would have known that this was talking about Jesus. They're the same people who went and studied the stars in the sky, and they knew when this Jesus was going to be because they studied the Old Testament prophecies. Yeah. Just a little side historical, biblical facts, which are really interesting how the Ethiopian Magi's were Ethiopian. Were they Ethiopian or Egyptian? Well, interesting enough, we can't change the Bible when it says Ethiopian. It was referring to Africa. Sometimes the Bible says Egypt, and it refers to actual Egypt. But the thing is, Egypt refers also to Africa. So it just depends on which Africa you're talking about because there's Egypt and Ethiopia, and both are actually Africa. So depending on what you're talking about in the Bible, you have Egypt or Greater Africa, the Africa closer to Europe and the Middle East. And you have Ethiopia, which is Lower Africa, which basically is southern Africa. So Egypt is northern Africa, and Ethiopia is probably southern Africa, but all of it's Africa. I mean, it doesn't differentiate between. I mean, it really doesn't differentiate between what part of Africa we're talking about. So, yeah, you either have Egypt or you have Ethiopia. Both are in the Bible, and both kind of referring to the black man. But people in Egypt aren't necessarily black. They're kind of black, but they're more like, they're closer to the tan of the Middle Eastern people, but the tan of the Middle Eastern people are also black. So, but they're more like brown. So it's like the difference between dark brown and light brown, I guess. Difference between dark black African and light black Middle Eastern. So, yeah, interesting. Just little little sidetrack, little side note. Pretty cool, interesting little tidbits. See, this is how my mind thinks. I go into little side notes, history, bibliography, geography. Um, I mean, this started out as a movie review, literally about Santa, a Santa Claus serial killer with demonic influences. And I've now talked a little sidetrack note about how surnames from black people, how slaves took on the surnames of their masters. Some of their masters are good, some of their masters are bad. So if you black people don't like the fact that your last name is probably passed on from century to from family to family to family because a white man, especially the ones in America, possibly the ones in Canada, and the ones possibly the black folks down in Mexico too, in South America, probably, maybe. Also, the black people in Europe. Actually, honestly, if you're black and you live in Europe, you probably also got your name from the slave trade because there was a time when the Europeans owned slaves. Yeah, there was a time when the biggest slave trade was in literal Rome, which is owned and operated by the Catholic Church now. So, yeah, y'all think about that. The Roman Empire at one time ruled the known world, and they were really into slaves. But everybody wants to blame America. Like, seriously, the slave trade goes way back before even Rome was an empire. And you want to talk about America being evil because we used to have slaves. No, all of Europe had slaves. The African slave trade has been going on for a long time. We're just the most recent. And literally, slavery's been going on like forever. And literally, slavery is still going on. There are literal places in the world, including Africa, where the slave trade is still going on. So, yeah. Heck, the modern day slave trade doesn't care about skin color. The modern day slave trade is actually sex trafficking and human trafficking. And it's literally a slave trade. And it has Asians, it has whites, it has Europeans, it has blacks. Heck, they had a thing in American history of the sailor slave trade. It was called Shanghai. Yeah. So, yeah. Human trafficking has existed to get people from one place to another place. So, Yeah, sometimes these people that you pay to get you from one place to another place are not the best of people. Sometimes they use you as basically slaves. So, yeah, I think you can say that Hispanics, uh, like, are in a lot of cases they're just as bad as and have been used as slaves just as much as the black man. Just their slavery is more of a more human trafficking recent thing. People have left war torn countries and have ended up being slaves because they were trafficked through human trafficking systems. So slavery's not an old thing. It's a modern thing. It's a new thing, and like I said, a lot of cases it's human trafficking deals in some of that Epstein Island stuff, if you know what I mean. Also deals in other types of trades. Lots of different reasons, like some of those child children that have been made to work the fields, the mines, the toy, whatever, where they're getting paid pennies a day to keep making stuff for us Americans, where corporations make a lot of money. Yeah, textile factories and drug drugs drug operations. You know where they literally use pretty much slave labor or really cheap labor, which might as well be considered slave labor because it's so cheap of labor that the huge rich people are getting rich and poor people are just basically being used like a bunch of slaves. So yeah, slavery. As long as you have people that are going to use that want a really cheap labor force, you're going to have slavery. And as long as you have people who are going to want stuff that isn't quite legal, you're going to have sex trafficking, sex slavery. Yep. Sorry. And rich people are always going to be involved in stuff that isn't quite legal, and they're going to pay for stuff that isn't quite legal, whether that's cheap labor forces, sex, um, sex with people that um, let's just say they're not legally allowed to have sex with, um, or doing illegal hunts, because even the legal hunts are in some cases illegal, but they make them legal for a fee. Does that sound, I mean, does that really sound like it's legal? If the government can make a rich person pay a lot of money so they can hunt a lion, does it make it any less? Okay, does something make it any less right or wrong if the government charges you money to do it? That's a good moral quandary. Like, okay, who's in the wrong? Is the government the one charging you money to let you do something? Are they the ones in the wrong, or are the person actually doing the thing, are they in the wrong? I mean, who's more in the wrong? Good philosophical question there. Who is more in the wrong? And another good philosophical question: is it wrong to commit acts of evil to stop evil or to eliminate evil? What's the difference between justice and vengeance? Like, was this serial killer from this movie, the the Santa serial killer, was he evil? Is him killing bad people evil? Is him killing evil people himself actually evil? Or is he like an avenging angel, spirit, so to speak, thing? Is doing something evil for the sake of good, does that make that still evil? Or does that now cover up that evil into good? Like, could you consider the executioner, the one who ties the hangman, the one that actually makes the noose or chops the head off, is that guy really a bad guy? The person who actually puts in the lethal injection for the criminal, or is he just doing his job? That's these are philosophical questions one should ask. Um, is the soldier that commits an atrocity, is he responsible? Is he personally responsible for the atrocity he committed during an act of war? Or are his superiors the ones that are responsible? Can saying you were just following orders, does that relieve you of the bloodshed that you did? And would it depend on the orders being followed? Or would it depend on the person following the orders? I mean, like, where does the line go? I mean, who knows these lines? These are moral, ethical, philosophical quandaries to ask. Okay, you went to fight for your country because war has always existed. War has existed since probably pretty close to the dawn of time. Um, as soon as nations started building up and creating, they started going to war with each other over basically land, which at one and land is really free until someone puts a value on it. It's true. Land is free until someone puts a value on it. And usually they put a value on it based off of whether or not which nation owns what land. And then those nations that own the land put the value on it and they fight over essentially land or the resources on that land. That's how it works. That's how war works. So if you fought for one nation to defend another nation or your own nation, or to conquer another nation, because, I mean, at what point do you have to know that you're doing bad stuff, that you're in the wrong? If you realize you're in the wrong and then you continue doing it, now are you guilty? Or do you find out that, or are you just following orders? These are interesting quandaries to to think about. So I've gotten way off hand about the and gone into some other little tangents, and now my video that was supposed to be a review of a movie has gone from a review of a movie to basically jumped into a whole bunch of different philosophical questions. And my video is going to be 2 hours long. But seriously, you see how my mind works. It jumps around. I can't stick on one topic because I got this like, is this movie connected to other movies? Could we make them connected? Then I'm like, well, let's talk about some other Christmas movies. The other Christmas movie that was playing was from the Doctor Who verse, Dr. Seuss verse, which makes me want to know, is all the Dr. Seuss movies connected? And then I'm also talking about, well, somehow surnames came up because I know I was comparing if Dr. Seuss made the first multiverse because Stephen King is, he's attributed to one of the first multiverse creators. Maybe it goes even back before him because um, Robert Heinlein, who wrote Starship Troopers, the book, also wrote a bunch of other books, and it seems like to a degree his books are somewhat connected. Maybe not necessarily connected as in they're all part of the same universe, but they could be in a multiverse because they're connected all based off of the same libertarian, multi-libertarian philosophies he had, because dude had a lot of different philosophies. Um, and he discussed various different philosophicals and philosophies in his various different books. So instead of like, so in a way, his books are science fiction, but in a way, they're philosophical novels, political philosophical novels and ideologies where he goes into what if this universe existed and this happened in that universe? Or what if this universe existed and this happened in that universe? So is he got the first multiverse? Maybe. Uh, or is he got he does he just honestly his books are basically in some cases what ifs. They're what if scenarios set in futuristic alternate histories. But instead of alternate histories, they're not set in the past with an alternate history like Harry Turtledove does, which again, I think a lot of his universes are also connected, like the Southern Heritage series. That's a whole series of books that are set in one universe, but then it's other universes too. Very interesting. Um, he has time travel universes where people from one point of history take stuff back to another point of history and change history, and then he just makes novels based on how the influx of history continues going on because of these people from the past, or technically these people from the future, went to the past and changed the past to create a new future, alternate history. Well, um, Heimlin, on the other hand, does the same thing, but he takes it to the point of, okay, what if some point in history, in the future, stuff happens, and then I go from that point. So with Starship Troopers, he takes a time point in history, his future, which is actually now a present time, ironically, and he goes into, okay, what's going to happen? How would this society function if it functioned in this future, far out future? So one could claim from a technicality perspective that Heimlin is a alternate history. The problem with that's take is you're claiming he's an alternate history, but he sets his alternate histories in the future. So all his philosophical and political thoughts exist in futuristic settings. Interesting. So He just came up with this political ideology, and he, instead of testing it in real life, in theoretical life, in practice, he tested it out in a theoretical book, novel, a controlled environment, if you may wish. But the problem with that is it's controlled by him. He has to create all the narrative because he was the author. So he created a political ideology of how a nation would work, and then he sets it sometime in the future and says, well, what if this nation worked this way? And then he theorizes on that particular ideology from a science fiction standpoint. Yeah, that's what he did. He's alternate history, but in the future, as opposed to alternate history in the past, which is interesting. Okay, see how my mind works? Jumping around here. I did I did watch a pretty good amount of video essays about Starship Troopers recently, so that's probably why my mind is a little bit on the think thought about Starship Troopers. And why did I do that? Oh yeah, I did that because Biased Camp with Simone and Malcolm um, did a video about Star Trek and Starship Troopers, and it got me thinking about Starship Troopers. So I decided to watch various different video essays, both from the left and the right, uh, because while I am a Republican um, and I am right leaning, I don't dismiss the left, and I don't necessarily dismiss Democrats. Not always. Um, while I do think they are misguided and misconstrued and do a lot of things wrong, I think Republicans sometimes do the same. And I think that the majority citizen, is probably center, uh, and that I don't really think that the political spectrum or compass is accurate, um, because the left keep going further left, and they just keep pushing the right to take over more of the left, which means the right is getting more left, and the left is getting further left, if that makes any sense. So the right is not as right as it used to be, and the left is further left than it used to be, because we just continue pushing the goalposts, and we keep pushing them toward the left, because the left keeps pushing people out of the left, so they turn into members of the right, but there never were members of the right to begin with. And now the right is having a civil war, so to speak, because we got too many leftists in the right, because we keep pushing the goalposts to allow more and more people to become conservatives, which aren't really conservative, if that makes any sense at all. Anyway, that's beside the point. Um, that has nothing to do with any of the movie review. I just started having another hour, basically, of rambling about random different topics, and yeah, this movie's this review and all the other stuff is longer than the actual movie now. Yeah, philosophical argument. Um, like, what do you think? I mean, if you killed people that were bad people in some form of vengeance or Vigiani justice or justice, if it was legal or even if it was legal or not legal, would you be a bad person? I mean, are you a bad person if you execute a bad person? If you have to do something bad to get rid of bad, are you also bad? Good question. Anyway, I'm going to end the video because I've been talking for 2 hours and throat getting kind of dry. So yeah. Uh huh. It's like these videos, just the thought processes. They give me more. Uh, Makes me want to think about more things. Makes me want to do more thoughts, more things, more thought processes, more knowledge, more stuff. So, do y'all like these videos? I mean, I don't know. I mean, they don't get a whole lot of views. So maybe people are just, I don't know, maybe people are just short attention span and do not like watching long ass videos, or maybe people just are not intellectually inclined enough to want to watch all these different random thoughts about random things. I don't know. Some of y'all like the vlogs, some of y'all don't like the vlogs, so I just personally do not know how to not stop talking. Maybe that's my problem. Might not be your problem, might be my problem. But interesting enough though that I do more talking to myself because I'm filming myself, which means I'm talking to you guys that watch it, whoever watches it. But I'm not really talking to anybody in public. When I talk in public, I do more listening than actual talking. So that's interesting because I will listen to them and then I will talk to them and I will listen to their opinion and their side of the story and then I will, interject with my opinion, my side of the story, my, thought process of what they just said. But here, I don't have anybody to do that with, so I have to only talk to myself. And then I have to somewhat, somehow play devil's advocate with myself, I guess. Anyway, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the 2 hour long talk. Where I think the first half was movie review and then the rest was other stuff. Yeah. Later.